Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. General Davis, a report on Monday of this week by Bloomberg said that flight testing of software essential to delivering the plane's promised capabilities was supposed to be completed last month, but now may take until mid-June, and that deficiency will be fixed later this year and aren't severe enough to delay the Marine Corps' declaration. General Bogdan is quoting as saying the service understands the limitation and has operational workarounds to ensure they have the capability they need. What are those limitations and what is the operational impact if the Marine Corps declares its F-35 initial operational capability this summer?
Mr. Chairman, thanks for letting me answer. First off, the F-35 for us, for our nation, for our Marine Corps, is going to give us a fifth-generation first-aid capability with the ability to go take off from amphibious ships and also land on 3,000-foot ships. So wherever our Marines are fighting, they get a great combat capability, in a lot of ways, a lot more than we have today with our legacy fleet. I'll answer a couple of things, and actually, if I could, to Congresswoman Sanchez's question as well on the engine, because I think that's applicable as well. The engine we're seeing right now is very reliable. We got 10,000 hours on the motor. We did have one problem last summer that we believe we've corrected. I talked to the pilots and the squadron commanders who are flying this airplane last night. A very reliable motor from our perspective, to include the lift fan. On the fusion capability we talked about, and the software capability we talked about, we're tracking about 13 different categories inside our program to make sure that we've got this thing on track. From the fusion and the software, we're actually seeing what we need and tracking for what we need to declare initial operating capability in July of this year. We still have more test points to get. We take it to the ship in May, and we won't declare IOC until we have all those conditions met for this airplane. But on the software side, one of the things is four-ship fusion. We do have some issues right now with four-ship fusion. That's four airplanes in the missionary data link that would share information together, real time. What we don't have, we found out we do have a problem with some latency with the four-ship fusion, but we do not have a problem with two-ship fusion. So right now, ship 1 and 2 and ship 3 and 4 can share information very, very readily. It's something we can't do today. So it's a combat capability we don't have today that we do have now with this airplane, and we're sharing the information between the first section and the second section through Link 16. That's working very well for us. The close air support software is actually working very well. We're able to, working through the APG-81 radar, take a bomb through the clouds, which we can't do right now. So doing close air support through the clouds, we're able to take voice 9-line briefs, and also with our 2B software on track for a VMF data link to basically take the CAS briefs via VMF. The software through the EOTS, which is our electro-optical targeting system, is allowing us to actually do night close air support, track moving targets, and also have better fidelity than our FLIR, than our Lightning Pod and our legacy aircraft right now. So the ALIS system we talked about in the software as well, again, that's tracking as per what we need for an IOC, with one workaround, which is requiring a human contractor to use a laptop computer for the propulsion system modifications. And the mission data files, we'll know more on that. We just got our first area of responsibility data load now, and we're going to test that this month out at the weapons school out in Yuma, Arizona. So we're going out there. I'll be out there tonight, but our pilots will fly for 30 days testing that mission data file. So on the software side, what we're seeing, and I talked to the squadron commanders and the guys who are flying it last night in preparation for today's testimony to give you ground truth for the pointing of the spear. They're very, very comfortable with what they've got right now. As good Marines, they'd always want more, but we're seeing actually an improved combat capability from what we have in Legacy today, much better, and we think we've got a good software load, stable software load for this airplane to declare an IOC.
Thank you. I was going to throw it open to the panel whether they wanted to also address the issue of the single engine, and Ms. Sanchez also raised some other subjects, so we can break it down, or right now if anybody wants to jump in right now, feel free.
Sure, I'll talk real briefly about the engine, and without diving too far. It is on. Yes, I'll speak louder. I'll touch on the engine, but I don't want to take too much time to dive too deeply into the technology piece. But that occurred last summer. We very quickly identified the root cause. There was two components rubbing on each other internally. Engine created a lot of heat and thus a failure. That root cause was identified. Some restrictions were put on the fleet while we searched for corrections to that. We have essentially two temporary fixes in place today that allow the fleet to continue to fly across all type model series. Depending on the degree of the correction they've had, it equates to the amount of flight envelope that they're able to utilize. The long-term fix is still being worked with Pratt & Whitney, the engine manufacturer. But other than I'll call it temporary disruption to our test program, where we had to basically stop flying for a few days and then bring things back on slowly. As General Davis noted, the aircraft are back flying. They're flying real-world type training missions, and the engine's performing the way we expect it to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think General Davis and Admiral Grosskloks did a great job of describing the progress both in the software and the engine issue. I'd just note that the investigation into the engine was something new for us as we worked together among the three services and the partners to make sure that everybody knew what was going on, that everybody was aware of what we were finding, and that everybody was involved in the decision. So we did a joint safety board and a joint accident investigation board that let us all understand where we were in the process and be able to adjust. It has had a little bit of an impact and delay on testing program, because when we temporarily grounded the airplane and reduced their flight envelope as we worked through the issues, it delayed some of the test points. The JPO has been dedicated to supporting the Marine effort to reach IOC, and we're happy to help with that effort. We know that they plan to reach it first, and we've worked together with them to do that. And we look forward then to progressing toward our IOC sometime next year then.